everyone, and welcome to my February TBR. I'm going to lay out 8 books that I think I'll read in February. The 5 books that I have on the schedule, an audiobook, a short story collection, and then a wild card pick at the end. So, here we go. To Ride Hell's Chasm by Janny Wurts. When a princess disappears, the tiny peaceful kingdom of Cecily is plunged into shadowy intrigue. The distraught king calls on 2 men to find his daughter. Taskin, commander of the royal guard who holds the kingdom's deep-seated respect, and Mikhail, a scarred veteran whose irregular background and foreign breeding are held in contempt by court society. As their investigation unfolds, Mikhail's reputation causes him to fall under suspicion. Is he the one champion who can save the princess, or was he sent by the enemy? Commander Taskin must unravel the truth before an uncanny threat destroys the peace. So, To Ride Hell's Chasm has been on my TBR for about 2 years. The author actually sent this to me. If you saw the B-roll, I actually showed you the signature page, which was really cool for me. But I've been reading a lot of her earlier works, and I was putting this one off and kind of just kicking the can down the road until I wanted to read all of her early stuff. So, the Empire Trilogy, check. Sorcerer's Legacy, her debut, check. Another standalone novel, Master of White Storm, check. The short story collection, That Way Lies Camelot, check. The trilogy, what's it called? It starts with Stormwarden, the Cycle of Fire trilogy. Haven't done that one yet, but this one was on the shelf, and I just really want to read it. So this is probably going to be the first thing that I do read in February. You know from my love of GGK that I love fantasy standalones, and I've heard just super high praise about this one, and I can't wait to dive into To Ride Hell's Chasm. Forbidden Knowledge, The Gap into Vision by Stephen R. Donaldson. Beautiful, brilliant, and dangerous, Morn Highland is an ex-police officer for the United Mining Companies and the target of 2 ruthless, powerful men. One is the charismatic ore pirate Nick Soccorso, who sees Morn as the booty wrested from his vicious rival, Angus Thermopylae. Thermopylae once made the mistake of underestimating Morn, and now he's about to pay the price. Both men think they can possess her, but Morn is no one's trophy and no one's pawn. Meanwhile, within the borders of forbidden space, wait the Amnion, an alien race capable of horrific atrocities. The Amnion want something unspeakable from humanity, and they will go to unthinkable lengths to get it. So, Forbidden Knowledge is the second book in the Gap cycle. That's the 5-book series that I'm buddy reading with Jonathan from Words in Time. And I read the first book in January. Look for a short review of that and everything I read in January next weekend. But it's a brutal, quick read. It's really intense. It's not for the faint of heart. But I am intrigued to see where it goes. I've heard that it's all worth it by the time you get to the end of the series, and I'm trusting the people that have read that is going to remain true for me. Because I didn't love the first book, I did like the first book. I'm still very, very curious to see the parallels between this and the opera cycle by Richard Wagner, The Ring of the Nibelung. I can see some parallels already. I won't bore you with those, but I'm really looking forward to reading the second book in the Gap cycle, Forbidden Knowledge. When the Women Come Out to Dance by Elmore Leonard. In this collection of short fiction, Elmore Leonard, called the greatest crime writer of our time, perhaps ever, demonstrates the superb characterizations, dead-on dialogue, vivid atmosphere, and driving plotting that have made him a household name. And once more, this master of crime illustrates that the line between the law and the lawbreakers is not as firm as we might think. Vivid, hilarious, and unfailingly human, these 9 stories ring true with Leonard's signature deadpan social observations and diabolical eye for the foibles of the good guys and the bad. So I think this is the 3rd work of Elmore Leonard that I've read, and I'm looking forward to this short fiction collection. This came on my radar because one of the short stories features Raylan Givens, which is a character of Elmore Leonard's that was in the show Justified, is where I first met that character, and I did read a little bit more of this character in the novel Pronto. I read that a few years ago, and I really love the character, and I love that book, so I just wanted to explore more. I do enjoy short fiction of a lot of different genres, and a lot of times, like I talk about later in this video, I do my short fiction collections as a kind of palate cleanser between main novels, but I'm going to read this one consecutively mid-month. In fact, I'm taking this on a trip with me. A lot of times when I travel, a short fiction collection is perfect for travel, especially if you don't know how much you're going to read. It's easy to find some stopping points, and you're not left in the middle of a novel or something like that. Thank you, Heidi, for sending this to me. This was on my Amazon wish list, and she sent this to me a few months ago, and I'm really looking forward to diving in and reading more Elmore Leonard this month. Return of the Griffin by J.C.M. Byrne. Humanity faces extinction. 10 kiloton monsters are rising from the depths of the Pacific, leveling entire cities in frenzies of destruction. Earth's heroes have been decimated. The survivors are desperate. Rohan spent 10 years fighting wars across the sector as a weapon of mass destruction for the Ildrak Empire. His victories made his name a curse on a dozen worlds and a nightmare on scores more. He retired and discovered that leaving his name behind didn't clear his sins, his debts, or his conscience. Earth's peril may give him a chance for redemption, if he can only find a way to stop the monsters without turning into one. So, Return of the Griffin is the second book in the Hybrid Helix series, or sequence it might be called, and the author sent me this one. I really loved the first book that I read in December. It was such a great, fast-paced kind of space opera, sci-fi adventure. You know, this series is sold kind of as superheroes in space, but I find that a bit reductive because I found that the characterization was very strong. I really enjoyed the world building a lot, and I'm just looking forward to diving back in here. The first book was really well plotted and well paced, and this seems to be a great kind of change of pace for a lot of the other things that I'm reading this month, but I do look forward to reading The Return of the Griffin by J.C.M. Byrne in February. A Song for Arbonne by Guy Gavriel Kay. Blaise of Gorhul is a warrior. He fought for his king and country until the king died in battle, and a dishonorable treaty ceded a good part of his country to foreign hands. He has broken relations with his father, advisor to the king of Gorhul, and abandoned the use of his family's name. Now Blaise is a mercenary. He never expected to work for the lords of Arbonne, the warm, fertile land south of Gorhul, whose people worship a goddess instead of the god. They are a soft people, or so he thought. But for all their nonsense about love, their troubadours and songs, they will fight for their country when invasion comes from the north. So those of you that follow the channel, you know that I've read this. I love this. This is one of my favorite books of all time. When I counted down my top 50 favorite books last year, this was in the top 5. And then if you're really paying attention, last month I mentioned that this was the audiobook I'm going to listen to. Well, I listened to the audiobook last month, and what it made me want to do was just read the book again, traditionally, with my eyes. So I'm really excited to read this. I am going to be in a discussion with this over on Phillips Chase's channel sometime in March, I think. But beyond that, I just adore this book. It does everything that I love about literature. I feel in many ways a lot of the themes and a lot of the contents of this book that Kay was writing the book for me. I know a lot of people don't list this as Kay's #1 book, but it is my favorite, and it is one of his S-tier books. I think most people agree about that. But I'm really looking forward to reading, for the second time in 2 months, A Song for Arbonne by Guy Gavriel Kay. So my short fiction collection, I always bring these up. Sometimes I will finish it within a month. Sometimes it may go over multiple months. So this is the first one I talked about last month, Nightmares and Dreamscapes by Stephen King. And I'll probably finish it in February. I think I have 9 stories left in here. There were 23 short stories here. I mentioned earlier in the video when I was talking about Elmore Leonard's book that the short fiction collection that I always have ongoing, I generally just read a short story or 2 between main novels. So a lot of times bigger ones like this, and this is chunky, will go over several months. I think I actually started this back in November, but I'm confident enough that I'll finish this in February. I'll probably put it on the thumbnail. So Nightmares and Dreamscapes will be the next short fiction collection that I finish. My next audiobook is Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader by James Luceno. This is, of course, a Star Wars novel. This is whatever you call it. You call it Legends, or you call it Extended Universe, whatever you want to call it. This is one of those books, and I am listening to the audiobook. I just started it, so I'm not very far into it, but I love these Star Wars audiobooks because you get sound effects, you get soundtrack. It's really, really well done productions, and I enjoy listening to the Star Wars books that way. So that'll be the next audiobook that I finish. And my wild card pick. I never know if I'll get to my wild card pick, but I like to just throw out a guess of something I'm really interested in reading. So for this month, I'm going to pick The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. I saw this on a video of Library Ladders where he was talking about it, and it made me remember that I read this a long time ago, junior high or high school or something like that. And you know me, I love classics, so I wanted to read it again. So I'm excited to hopefully pick this up in February, but with a wild card pick, you never know. I will say, if you're paying attention, my January pick, I did read that wild card pick, and we'll talk about it in my January wrap-up when I get those short reviews out, probably next week. So that's my February reading plans. Let me know what you're planning on reading, and if you want to talk about any of these books, let me know in the comment section below. Of course, don't put any spoilers down there. I haven't read these books yet, except for Song of Arbonne, of course. Anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Twitter, Goodreads, and the Fireside Discord. I'd love to interact with you there. As always, thank you for watching. Till next time, goodbye.